Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism. So, I know some of you have this question. Why is the narcissist sometimes so nice and sometimes so awful? Why are there good days and bad days? Because so many of you believe if I can understand this, then I know what I need to do to make sure that there are more good days. So here's the problem. It's completely out of your control. And why? It relates to a concept called narcissistic safety. This concept explains why so many people do not understand what you are experiencing, why they may think that a toxic person in your life is quite lovely and nice and sweet and warm, and why you know that it is possible that they can be nice, the narcissist can be nice, because you've witnessed it and experienced it too. But that by and large, what you're experiencing is completely and simply awful. Narcissistic people bring their A game at only certain times. And by A game, I mean charm, charisma, their performative empathy, the person you fell in love with, basically. These are the times that narcissists bring that A game. Number one, when they need something. So they may do it as part of a business meeting, or I don't know, like with a real estate agent, when they want to buy a house, or a server, or a hotel clerk, or anyone they perceive can do something for them in that moment. Number two time they bring that A game is when they view someone as being more powerful than them. So let's say the narcissist meets a celebrity or someone of renown or a politician or a person of wealth. At some level, the narcissistic person envies this person, but they also want to get proximity to this famous or powerful person. So they bring charm, confidence, charisma, and gasp. Can you believe it? Sometimes even humility. And number three, they are nice when they feel safe. Now, what do I mean by safe? Safe for a narcissist is that things are going their way. Their insecurity and their inadequacy are not being threatened. Maybe work is going well, or they got some praise, or they are on a happy vacation. Whatever is happening in their lives is going well. They feel safe and protected and even strong. So then they're good. And even if this is in your day-to-day lives, it may be a day when they're sort of whistling around the house or offer to make dinner or tidy up or take you out. It can be a bit shocking if you may be coming off a recent spate of arguments or tension. And to do this, to go back and forth between the tense and the good, is really its own form of gaslighting, right? Because it's so off the usual contentious reality. But then you think, maybe they change. Nope. And then you settle into it and enjoy it. And then, just like that, they narcissistically abuse you again. The most important thing to know is that these good moments are temporary. This will not last, because just as often as a narcissistic person feels safe, and maybe even more often, they feel unsafe. Now, it's interesting because we don't really think about narcissists feeling unsafe, right? Because more often than not, narcissistic folks are the bullies. They are the ones who send the menacing texts and emails. They are the ones who are willing to yell, scream, fight, and rage. So why wouldn't they feel safe, right? They are the ones who are actually seemingly leaving everyone else feeling unsafe. But for a narcissistic person, the lack of safety comes from life not looking the way that they want. In their entitlement, they feel as though they deserve to have life look the way they want. Work isn't going well, for example, or they didn't get the praise, or they don't have as much money as they want, or someone else got the promotion, or they feel they didn't get a good hotel room that they deserved on a vacation. Whatever it is, it sets them off, and they feel unsafe. Their inadequacy gets pinged, and they become rageful. That is when it gets messy. Manipulation, rage, invalidation, insults, blame shifting, you know the drill, right? If this happens on successive days, there's a good day and then a bad day, it's even more confusing. I am seeing more and more people feel stuck in narcissistic relationships because of this division between the good moments and the bad days. and not understanding why this happens because it feels random to the people in these relationships. It's not random. The problem is that you are not the one who can control the good versus the bad. You can't give them the promotion or the praise they want or the money they want or the public adoration. You can only be you. And some days they simply want something different. Nothing you do. You could make their favorite dinner, get them something they want, introduce them to some sort of useful business person, keep the house perfect, but their lives still happen. The bad things in their life still happen. And when they do not feel safe, the people closest to the narcissist suffer. If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, you know this drill well. You know the good days and the bad days drill, much like people who grew up with an alcoholic parent. For a child, when you were a child, you may have gotten so attuned that you recognized if, I don't know, the jingle of the keys was different, or the speed with which the car came into the driveway was a little bit off, or how they shut the door, or how that narcissistic parent walked through the house. You just knew it, and you braced for it. The day, however, in contrast, that parent got good news or had a good day, you were living in one of those happy families you'd heard about, right? That's offset against the bad days that were somewhat terrifying. On those bad days, you would do your best and you would stay out of the way and you tried to be good, but it was out of your hands then too. Good day or bad day, you have no control over this. And growing up like this meant that you lived in a constant state of tension because you never knew what was coming or what to expect. Now, I know this sounds cynical, but don't let the good days be the ones that sway you. Make your judgments and decisions, unfortunately, on the basis of the bad days. Now listen, let me frame this. If there's nothing but good days in your relationship, but an occasional very rare bad day, that's not what we are talking about here. We are talking about the narcissistic pattern of bad day after bad day after bad day, sprinkled with a few good days and very little consistent empathy. The consistent bad days, hard as it is, let that guide you. The trauma bonds pull you into rationalizing those bad days, but you can untrain yourself. None of us feel safe all of the time. We all have times in our lives that are harder. And part of being a decent human being is to retain our empathy and regulate our emotions so other people don't become collateral damage on our bad days. Narcissistic folks, instead, they make their bad days everyone's bad days. You can't spend a lifetime riding the storms between the days that narcissists actually feel safe. That's not a life for anyone. It's the enabling kind of BS that everyone is doing these days that is making the world such a mess and letting the narcissistic people run this increasingly challenging world we live in. So once again, when the narcissist feels like they're dominating, that they're in control, that they have what they need to feel powerful, they feel safe, and you think you're in the presence of the nicest person ever. The minute they don't feel safe, and it may have nothing to do with what you did, you are dealing with the classical elements of narcissistic abuse. And because you're not the one who controls whether or not they feel unsafe, it can feel like you're living with a bucket full of unexploded grenades. Hope that helps. And again, as always, if you're new to this channel, please join us and subscribe. Thanks again.